All right, so it is 6:31 and I make a motion to call this meeting to order. And Mallory, do you want to read the?
Yep. So the virtual meeting statement pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, General Law, Chapter 30A, subsection 18, and the Governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Hubbardston Board of Health will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and or parties with a right and or requirement to attend this meeting may be found at www.hubbardstonma.us. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post on the town's website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record or proceedings as soon as possible.
Okay. So we have one item on the agenda tonight, and that is to regroup on the upcoming clinic and items, steps, questions, etc. relative to that. So where would you all like to start?
So I guess I kind of want to start with last week. Governor Baker came out with companion can get a shot if they're coming with someone who's over 75 and older. And I've had a couple people inquire about it. I know our vaccine number that we received was geared towards our population. And with the thought that about 60% will receive it. So we had the list of people who wanted the vaccine to be on the call list. We had the Google Forms that went out, and it's been out on social media and on the website now all day. And we have last time I checked, about 40 people who signed up to get the vaccine. I did reach out to Hub House, and it took them a couple of days to get back to me because that would have made up a pretty large population of how many of the 75 and older, and they have scheduled their own clinic with CVS. They're going to be coming in to do the inoculation shots for the residents. So that's going to kind of alleviate the need for MART and take away from some of our population. So I guess my biggest question right now is, are we going to allow for the companion shots or no?
Where we numbers wise for the existing sign up? And
we have the 300 and I think like 19 doses, and we have about 40 people signed up.
How many?
About 40.
Yeah.
So is that all in prep mod?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't understand that. You know, this like why do we only have 40? What is going on?
I put the Google form, and I put that call the senior center if you want to get on a list out. And out of over 100 people, we only had about, I think 27 of them sign up for our clinic. Everyone else had gone to Gardner.
So did the senior center help by making phone calls?
Well, they have had low staff, but some of them did, yes.
Well,
they'll be back in tomorrow.
I think that's the problem, because in all the other towns, they get the list from the clerk, and they've just been calling everybody one-on-one.
Okay.
And I know in Hardwick, we had allotment dose of 135, and we ended up giving out 159.
Okay.
And so they went out and called everybody. And, you know, one of the things they found out was a lot of, like 20% of their population is 75 and over, was in wheelchairs, walkers, or canes, etc. Okay. The other thing that I've discovered is a lot of 70 to 75-year-olds were sneaking in. But, you know, my feeling is whether you're 75 or you're 70, you're still, if you're coming to this clinic with a cane and a walker, you're eligible for it. So
could I just add, I've been picking the brain of our coordinator at Haywood, because they're doing the clinics at the PACC, and they're giving out thousands of vaccines a week there. They were actually, her name was Rhonda. She was actually surprised that we were doing a senior clinic here in Hubbardston, because a large number of the people that they vaccinated at the PACC were from Hubbardston. So I think I wouldn't be surprised if a large number of our seniors just went up to Gardner and got it, because Haywood's been doing that now. I think this is week 3 for community clinic.
They've been doing like
Although PACC is now so crowded that they're not, that I'm getting feedback now that they can't get appointments there. So this whole thing is getting kind of crazy, but.
Yeah, and PACC is not, the Haywood is not doing companions at this time.
it's not okay.
No.
And the governor put that out and then he pulled it back. So that was a big hassle at Hardwick because they put it out and then they pulled it back like the day before the clinic. And it was like, oh, geez. So, but I think it's going back in again now. Did you hear anything more?
Not today. So then that leads me to my other question too, Judy. What happens if we don't, we don't fill up those slots? Who do we reach out to next?
That you're kind of stuck. And the problem is if we don't reach out and we don't get the folks and check with everybody in town as much as we can, the next time around, your allotment is going to be much smaller.
Right.
That's the way it worked and with the flu vaccine too.
Mm-hmm.
They based on what your allotment was for the year based on what you did the previous year. And if you were up, then you got more. If you were down, you got less. And they're doing the same thing with the COVID.
Yep.
So if you bring in 50 people and you have a small clinic on Saturday, that's what you're going to get the next time around.
So that 40 people was all of the folks that signed up through PrepMod. They're directly calling you, plus anybody from the list, plus the Google form?
Yeah. I mean, so what I did is the seniors have about 100 people who, did I lose you?
No, I can
Nope.
hear you.
Can you hear me? Okay, you guys froze. So the seniors have about 100 people who drive through every week to pick up food boxes, and they handed out a flyer to every single person who came to get the boxes on Thursday, and I got 3 phone calls, and 2 of them were for in the 65 age group, and they just wanted to be notified when we're having our clinic to fit there and phase, to fit in where they are, just to get on that waiting list. One person I was able to get onto into PrepMod, and I don't know if the seniors got any. They probably got a couple, but
okay.
So
I think we should be alarmed. I'm sorry.
I was talking with our select board, Katie Young, and she suggested sending out a blast email to Little Town. So that's going to go out tomorrow. And then I guess I'll just start with the list and try calling as many people as I can. And I know that they have one staff person at the senior center right now. So I'll see if she wants to kind of split it and take half, and then maybe I can recruit some of our senior workers.
Okay.
It's just frustrating. I thought we were going to have this mass calling and everyone was going to be trying to get in and get themselves inoculated.
Yeah, honestly, I've had a lot of patients in the last week or two that their kids have brought them to a mass vaccination.
Yeah.
So I think people are getting vaccinated, but they're getting vaccinated at larger centers right now.
And also, I think logistically, we're 2, maybe 3 weeks behind everybody else. This is a later time frame than, well, it's what we planned on, but it wasn't as immediate as some of the other towns who instigated the clinics. And having said that, I guess the options we have are for this weekend is to try to utilize all of these vaccines. I would say we open it up to not only assistance to people who are 75 and older, but anybody who is 65 and older with additional problems, and make a invitation to any of the teachers in the hub school that may be waiting for it as well.
Judy, can we skip the line like that? I don't know if we can, if without the state telling us we can.
Not really. I mean, and the other problem is we're supposed to be getting an 85% rate. The mass vaccine clinics are supposed to be 95%. And then there was one other group that was 65%, but we're supposed to be aiming for an 85% rate, and that's, well, we're at 40 people, we're not even close to that. And the little towns are all struggling with that anyway, and Rich and I have been having conversations with Jana Ferguson and trying to get that point across, you know, that the tiny towns, you know, like Hardwick and Petersham, they're not going to hit that number, but you know, it's definitely worth the time to have the clinic to reach out to those, especially those that are mobility challenged. You know, the waiting in line at a mass clinic is not what, and that's one reason why we had so many at Hardwick. They said, I'm not traveling. I'm in a wheelchair, or I'm using a walker. I'm not standing around in a mass vaccine clinic.
I had a
So,
couple of people call and they were concerned about that at Hubbardston. And I was like, oh, I
Yeah.
can assure you, there will be no line out our door.
right. So I think, you know, can we use, what is it, the code red system or whatever it
I
is?
can ask Chief Perrin.
So if we don't use alternative people, or we don't have alternative people to give the vaccine to, then we get punished for not giving the vaccine. So this is one of
Correct.
these impossible catch-22s that I think we give it to whatever we have to give it to, and then at least assure ourselves the fact that we're vaccinating people. It just doesn't make any
And-
sense not to do it.
And then the
Regardless of
irony
whether
is,
we're on the A or the B list, what are they gonna do? Take it back?
Well, you know,
Right.
Vin, you're exactly right, and this is why
Yeah.
Massachusetts is flunking all. You
It's
know, the
ridiculous.
Harvard study showed Fs across the board, is because, you know, a shot in an arm is a shot in an arm at this point.
Right.
And you know, if
Number
we don't have
50 on the
uptake-
list.
right? You know, I mean, in other states, if you can't fill your target population, you just give it out.
Right.
Yeah.
Whoever you can. And in Massachusetts, that's not the case. They do not want you moving down the line until the state says it's okay.
Right.
right,
Let 'em come
Although
get me.
we have
I'm
managed
more
to-
than happy to give it.
but
Yeah.
we've managed to sneak in, you know, like over in Barry, we did a very unique clinic over there, their senior housing, where they had a lot of folks, again, mobility challenged. And we went from apartment to apartment and gave the shots, you know, that way. And in the end, we had doses left over. So the school is right next door to this particular, you know, senior housing. So we called, and Ruggles Lane sent 12 teachers. So
Right.
we went ahead and gave them the leftover doses. And so we had like 38 or something like that. And we ended up giving 59.
So, I mean, I'm the least political person here because I don't care if I'm ever elected to a board again, anywhere, ever.
I do.
So I'm going to speak non-politically and just say this. I agree with Ben. I think we do the call list. I think we do the blast email. We see where we get by like end of day Wednesday. And if we're still at super low numbers and there's a population of 65 plus that we can reach out to, let's start there and get shots in arms. And what are they going to do? Take away my volunteer unpaid position on the Board of Health? I give a shit what Massachusetts does to me, right? Dr. Stoddard, you can just pretend you couldn't hear us on this part. And that
No, I agree 100%. I mean, I think I would personally, you know, if we know we have 200 shots that we aren't going to be, I would, you know, put a little sign up, free shots, come on in.
right.
I have somebody in this household, not me, of course, because I'm not 65 for another year, but I do have somebody here that would love to get the vaccine.
Oh,
And he's 65. I mean,
That's
it's like,
cat, is it?
no,
Okay.
he wants insulin.
Well, you know, this reminds me of the old story, the question which I asked at my daughter's wedding, in fact. Does anybody know the difference between in-laws and outlaws? No? Outlaws are wanted. So if we're gonna be outlaws, we might as well be outlaws for this particular cause. I don't have the problem with giving it out. And I'll take my chances, you know?
Yeah. I agree. If anybody else on the board that dissents to that opinion or want, you know, let us know. But I Thank you.
I just can't see wasting it. I just can't see it. If there's people out there that want it,
Absolutely.
I just,
And-
I mean, that's just my opinion.
Right.
65, 75.
Right.
What is time really? But yeah, so let's, I guess, email consensus
Mallory, if you
tomorrow.
give me a list of names, I'll call a few people for you in the morning.
Yeah, I can see what we got. It might be easier just for me to make the calls because I have access to register them and get them appointments right away.
Okay.
But all of my other meetings for the rest of the month canceled, so I don't really have them. I'm kind
Okay.
of in a status quo with everything else, so I can dedicate the rest of the week to this.
Got it. Now, logistically, are we in a good place? So we have all the stuff we need. We have all the checklists. I know, Mallory, you and I talked about open items for prep mod and process. I have guidebooks for everybody so that when we touch base on Friday and then when we touch base on Saturday morning, we have instruction manuals for people who haven't seen prep mod in case you have to enter data.
Seth is gonna also give a quick class too on Saturday morning.
Cool.
It's not that hard.
No.
You know,
But
I've
Incidentally,
done
we-
both registrations and vaccination checkouts. And we have enough staff, we have enough volunteers, so we're all set that way.
Oh, we're good.
Yeah, we're
Do you
good.
Can you get that list to us, Judy?
Yeah, I always send it out a couple days ahead of time, just because it has to go into prep mod.
Hey, Judy, on Saturday, I'm signed up for all the shifts for vaccinating. And on
Yeah.
Saturday, I noticed there's only like 2 of us. I know there's a bunch of volunteers that I had pushed over that are happy to do it, but nobody filled out their paperwork. Do you want me to wrangle their arms a little bit and get them to do it because they will, or are you okay with what you have?
I'm okay with what I have, but
Okay.
if they want to jump in, as long as I can validate their license, I put them down as a town volunteer rather than an MRC volunteer.
Okay.
And
And-
Ryan was okay with not running queries on them, so we can just get them right in.
Well, you can't really get a medical license without,
Right, right. That's what
they
his feeling.
sort of frown on, bad queries.
Yeah.
I would also say another target group we could look at it are members of town boards. We've had the assessors come to us twice requesting them to have their own meetings, and maybe there are eligible candidates on town boards that should come in.
yeah,
we
if they're
could call
65 and
that
above,
thing.
if they have comorbidities, if they're, a
Right.
teacher, sure. But, if they're just whining because they want to see people in person, I don't really feel sympathy.
Well,
None.
nevertheless,
I know, I understand that.
this is not an act of mercy. This is business. We got to get them done.
I understand. And then, so I guess the consensus is we're going to find out where we are by end of day tomorrow and
Yeah.
then potentially open it up. All right.
Or at least Thursday.
Yeah.
I've already committed to working all day Friday too, so I think Thursday might be middle day Thursday.
And Friday we're regrouping at 3? 2? I don't
One?
remember.
I don't
What-
think we ever. Kathy's email said 1, but
Is one okay?
Yeah, whatever.
Okay.
One's good for me.
What's happening on Friday? I missed what you said.
Oh, going
Set
over
up.
school is set up.
Oh, setup, sure. Yeah, one's fine.
I'm available all week if you need help doing something that's not in our schedule. You can just
okay.
email or call. Well, actually, text me is better because I don't check.
Okay.
As you know, I don't check my email all the time.
No
But
worries. I have your cell phone.
You
can-
young kids with your texting, that's how we have to get hold of you, huh?
hey, it's worse trying to get into my email. Never mind on my phone.
All right. So are there any other logistical gaps or items?
Yeah. So then we just Kate and I were talking, and anyone who has a Chromebook, if they could bring it Friday with the charger, because we're gonna need those for our admins to log into PrepMod with.
I actually have 2 very brand new state-of-the-art Lenovo Yogas that I will bring with me. And they
Okay.
will have, on the desktop, they'll have connections to PrepMod.
Okay. Yeah,
we
and
need-
then Kate, we can just bring them down Friday and get them all set up into Wi-Fi, so we don't have to worry about that Saturday morning. That would be good.
Yeah. Do we need power strips?
Power strips.
So do you want
Yeah.
us to bring our Chromebooks on Friday?
Yes, please.
With the, okay, all right.
Yeah, the Lenovo's have an 18-hour battery life.
Okay.
Nice.
And I definitely have a couple of power strips I'll just bring.
Yeah, I found some in our office, and we have more buckets of wires and cords and all that stuff. So I'm sure there's more, but
Yeah, there were extension cords at the gym, and the janitor, I think, indicated they'd be available. And then
Yeah.
I have dozens. I have like a bucket of cables if you want, just buckets.
So when I did the Hardwick clinic, they did it in their cafeteria, and was actually turned out to be the best setup that I've seen so far. And we had somebody meet and greet and do the temp check and the questions. And then we had somebody do a paper list. So the check-in, and it was very helpful because as they came in and checked in, we realized that a couple of people had missed their appointments. So it's good to have a paper backup. So we had 2 volunteers there. And then they moved on to, if they needed to sit in a waiting area, we set up a waiting area. And then we moved on to vaccines. And then we moved on to a checkout, which would be you, Mallory, doing the prep mod checkout. And that worked out well. And that's where having an extra person for the walk-ins that always show up to be able to get them registered. So that's good to have extra books and tablets. And then we had 2 volunteers. One actually filled out the cards, and while the other one gave them a hello sticker with their time in and their time out for sitting. And one of the things that they did, the volunteers decided to do, was not give them their cards until their time was up, so they wouldn't walk out too early. So they had to
That's smart.
wait for their card with the next appointment on it. So that seemed to work extremely well, but they ended up walking around in a circle. And so it worked out very well. So thought I'd share that.
Do we have the Moderna or the Pfizer vaccine?
Pfizer.
And have we got it on the premises, or is it coming from Rutland?
Yeah,
It's-
who's gonna bring it over from Rutland?
Probably Rich or Seth. Because the freezer is in the fire department.
Okay, so we have a freezer here also now. So do we want to get it on Friday and keep it, or do it,
No, Seth is gonna bring it on Saturday, and he's gonna give us our training on Saturday too.
Time is he coming?
I think around 8. I don't know. That's a good question. I'll ask him.
Now, our freezer here in town, I imagine, is not a -90 freezer, is it?
No, it's
No.
not.
No.
No. Yeah, so Vin, Pfizer has to be kept at -90.
Right.
And they can stay in a fridge for 5 days. So even if we brought it over and put it in the, I mean, I guess you can bring it over and put it in the fridge, but I'd rather see a runner. If we need more, go get it, rather than, because once it's out of
Right.
that freezer, it has to be used.
Right.
Yeah, and to that point, we're going to give them a final estimate count so that they don't bring 320 doses, 319 doses if we need 150.
Well, they're going to bring extra anyway, because that's what they've been doing. And in the end, we those bottles can go back to the next clinic coming up. And they do have them sort of rolling along right now. So
Do we need anything? Do we need to borrow anything from Haywood, let's say, for this clinic? Can I get anything we need? I have the EpiPens in hand, so we're
yay.
good for that area. But is there any kind of supplies we think I can get this week?
No,
Kathy, we-
that like I said, it's just a major hunt right now for extra needles.
Yeah.
But I have a small supply of diabetic needles, which we can substitute in the last minute.
Okay.
So I think we'll just have to raid the pharmacies for diabetic needles.
Yeah, I mean, I can order anything in bulk from McKesson. It's just the we'd have to mix and match a lot of things.
Yeah.
I can have it within 24 hours from the hospital. The hospital said whatever, they're happy to help us out. We can order whatever we want from, the hospital supplier, and then they'll just, give an itemized list. The town will just pay them back, but it's a heck of a lot cheaper to go through their contract. So whatever bulk supplies you think we ever need, just let me know and I'll take care of it.
Great.
Well, tuberculin syringes, and if no tuberculin syringes, I guess either diabetics, the diabetic syringes.
No, I went with again the group leader of the PACC clinic, and we went through McKesson, and they're buying 3 ml syringes with a regular needle,
Whoa.
because that is the smallest one they can find.
Wow.
So McKesson, on the McKesson website, we went through it. Everything that is really useful for this stuff is completely back ordered.
Wow.
And if McKesson doesn't have it, like it's going to be for everyone else on the board, McKesson pretty much supplies every hospital in the country. So,
I've managed their air contracts. I know how much they spend to travel to buy all those parts from China.
Yeah. So it's, McKesson doesn't have any of these supplies. So Haywood right now, for whatever for syringes and needles they're not getting from the state, they're using a 3 ml syringe. It's the smallest they can get.
Wow. Well, I do have a small pile of diabetic needles. So if we do run out, at least we can use that.
You're confident the supply list is good? Do we want to run through the supply list quickly, or are we?
Yeah, I don't know if we can do a quick run through. I haven't participated in any clinics, so there might have been something we missed on our first
Drill.
Did I lose you guys again? Kate, do you have that email? I can pull it up too over here.
Oh, let me take a peek. What am I looking for?
We sent an email out with the supply list in it to me.
Yes.
I don't know why I can't pull it open right now.
Because that's the way things work. List of supplies that Kate sent out, what we didn't already, something. Hold on. So he had said sharps containers, gloves, alcohol wipes, Band-Aids, non-sterile gauze, cleaning supplies, obviously, wipes. What else did we say on that list?
We got colorful Post-its, do time in, time out, whiteboard markers. There were clocks in the gym, so that was all set.
Gloves, and we said hand sanitizer.
Yeah, we have that.
Yep. And I thought, other than the electrical cords, I think that was all that I
Yeah, I
had.
think we're good. And then a case of water. I guess we have to pick that up.
Yeah, I will be bringing a cooler full of snacks because I have to eat every 2.5 hours. So.
I'll bring the large cooler I have in case we need, to put vaccine in a cooler at the gym.
It usually comes over, it's tiny little boxes. I mean, these are tiny little vials.
Mhm.
So, and he brings it over in a insulated bags on ice.
Good. So, any other topics we need to cover this evening?
Just actually one quick question for Judy. Is the state supplying the saline to reconstitute the vaccine, or do we have to supply that too?
No, the state is actually the company Pfizer is providing it, because that has to be a special kind of normal saline, so it comes with the bottles.
Okay.
All right. So before we wrap up, I'm just gonna throw this out there, but the back and forth that's been going through email about volunteers getting vaccinated before the clinic, I'm not participating in that. I think it's silly. It doesn't give you any added benefit versus the day of. You're not going to have full immunity by Saturday anyway, and I don't feel that it's justified. So you guys can do what you'd like. I don't think that it's necessarily fair to all of those people who've been on the front lines for the last year and a half to say, you know, I'm going to be at risk for a day. I better get vaccinated. So I'll be wearing my masks. I'll be wearing my double mask. I'll be gloving up. I'll be washing my hands, and I will be not licking people. And therefore, I feel I'll be fine. So if there's an extra vaccine at the end of the day on Saturday, I'll gladly take a shot in the arm. But otherwise, I'm good.
Yeah, so I have a concern too, because we made a big deal about making sure that our setup times and the other 2 clinics were posted, and this came through to me this morning, so we didn't have enough time to post it. So this like flyby.
We lost her. Mm.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Shut my camera off because I knew I was going to talk and everything. So I was saying was that we made sure to get everything else posted, but this clinic is not posted. And I think there's going to be people who rightfully so will have a problem with that, because it kind of looks deceiving and not so okay, in my opinion.
Very good point.
So I think that if you participate and there's an extra shot at the end of the day, great, get it done. But I have to agree with Kate that this is a risk we have all, you know, assumed by working a clinic. It's volunteer. No one's forcing anyone to be here. So, and also I'm not going to be getting my shot Wednesday, because if I get knocked down and have symptoms, then I'll be knocked down for Saturday and Sunday, and I'd like to be in my A game.
I think Dr. Starter could probably back me up. So far, we haven't seen anything.
Good.
So and people have not complained,
Good.
except possibly, you know, not even about a sore arm.
Awesome.
And everybody that has come and requested a vaccine as a volunteer has been able to get it. And many of them are already coming either with their first shot or having completed the series already.
Yeah,
So we're good.
If you're worried about getting knocked down from the vaccine, I think that's a bigger concern after their second shot.
Okay.
Right.
The
My
first
luck,
one,
it would be just with my luck.
both of them. No, the first shot I'd expect either going to have nothing, or it's going to be like getting a flu shot, a little bit of a sore arm. It's the second shot where everyone should expect, not everybody, about half the people should expect kind of like a 24 hours of having the flu. Then it just goes.
Yeah, goes away. Yeah, Pfizer seems to be well tolerated.
Good.
So I'll make my comments known here in reference to the pre-inoculations before the clinic. I was one of the prime movers on that. My son-in-law, who happens to be an infectious disease doctor with the Hartford Healthcare, recommended that the sooner you're vaccinated, the better, prior to a clinic. And in my particular case, with my pre-existing conditions, if I do not get inoculated prior to the clinics, I will not participate in the clinics. So that was the reason I was very happy to hear Seth Knipe call and offer to do it. If we did not post that meeting and only 1 or 2 go to the clinic on their own, then we will not have a quorum present, and it won't be a violation of any open meeting law. And whether it's fair or unfair, if somebody would like to volunteer and then also be there tomorrow night for their inoculations, they're welcome to do that as well. But that's the reason we're having Seth come in, and he's more than gracious enough to come by and do this for us.
Yeah. So Vin, let me just go over the science a little bit there for you. So I am 150% in agreement that volunteers at a clinic should get a vaccine. I'm supported by the state regulations on that. However, being vaccinated Saturday before having a clinic on Sunday, you will have zero immunity. From the first dose of the Pfizer vaccine, at 14 days out, 50% of people have partial immunity. at 21 days following the Pfizer shot, about 60 to 70% have partial immunity. It takes a full 2 weeks after your second shot for you to develop the 95% immunity. So even getting vaccinated 3 days before a clinic, you still will have no immunity to it whatsoever, none. So that's just the science behind either the Moderna or the Pfizer shot. First shot is partially effective, and this is one of the reasons why that the government, the FDA and CDC are not pushing for just single shot doses and doing it later. But certainly within 2 or 3 days of an activity, you'd have no immunity whatsoever, none. Now, said that volunteers would get vaccinated, 21 days before, I'd say, well, all right, that'll give you some immunity, but not the same week.
And
Well-
this is a well clinic. These people are coming under the assumption that they're well, and that they have no COVID symptoms. They've not been. In fact, that's a couple of the questions are: have you been exposed to anybody with COVID within 2 weeks? So it's an assumption that this is a well clinic. The other thing is logistically, once you open a bottle, you really need to use all of the doses in that bottle, which is why at the end of a clinic, when you have bottles left over and some of them are open, you try to give away as many as you can, so that you're not, the only bottle you're returning is the one that's still capped.
That was my question. Would it be wasteful if we only get 1 or 2 people to show up?
If it's not used within the 5 days, once it goes in a syringe, it's only good for 6 hours.
Okay.
Once the bottle is opened, it's only good for 5 days.
And the people that come in, Judy, or even us, that gets that first dose out of extra doses, we are signed up to get that second dose.
Yes.
Okay, so this isn't like a shot in the dark where, well, maybe we'll be able to get that second dose.
No.
Okay.
Once you get the first one, then you're signed into the system, and you'll get an email which will remind you that you need to come and get your second dose.
Okay. Well, I'm willing to wait for an extra dose on what Mike said. I mean, it doesn't matter, I guess. So I'll wait for the extra doses at the end of the clinic.
Yeah,
That's fine with me.
since it's not very effective in the time frame between tomorrow and the clinic on Saturday and Sunday. Yeah, it's unfortunate that we might not have Vinny at the clinic except to come in to get a shot. But it doesn't make sense for him to make an extra trip and open a bottle.
Well, there was presumed to be more people going to be participating tomorrow night. So we can postpone it. That's fine with me. I don't want to see them come over there just for 1 or 2 individuals. That's fine.
I think we'll postpone it. Yeah. I think that's what we're going to have to do. Okay.
Okey-doke.
Is there anything else on the agenda?
No, I just want to say thank you to Dr. Stoddard.
Yes, a million times thank you.
Yep, you've been a big help and very informative.
Well, it's my pleasure. Anything to do to help the town.
All right, we'll see you guys on Friday afternoon.
Yep.
Thank
And
you.
like I say, just give me a text if you need something, need
I
help doing
appreciate
something.
that.
Do we need a motion to adjourn?
I
Yeah,
make
I'll-
that motion.
And I'll second.
Ayes?
Hi.
hand.
Aye.
Aye.